So Marya, we're going around and asking people if they'll share their story. I'd like to hear you. What's your story?
So I believe my story is similar to many people that have gone through the standard church. I was born into the ministry. My father is a minister, so I've always been in the church. I always occupied a pew on Sunday morning. I sang in the choir. I played the bells. I taught Sunday school. I went on youth missions. Have always been in the church. And when I met my husband Randy, he challenged me to think differently than what I thought before. I had been married previously, and unfortunately the men that I tended to put in my life didn't support the spiritual beliefs that I had. They didn't share the same thing. So I still remained in the church, but it was always a lone rider kind of thing, and I was always doing what I'd always done. And when I met my husband Randy, he started challenging my thought process and put me in different places and different ideas, and the more that he challenged me, the more I lost the ability to do what I've always known. To be that follower, to sit in that, occupy that chair. And the harder that I held on to those things, the easier they slipped out of my hands. And so we came to the Anchor 2 years ago. Randy came when it first started, and I followed down shortly after. And the followed is kind of ironic, because followed is something I felt like I've always done. I've always been the follower. I've always been, I watched my mom being the minister's wife and being the support and being the catalyst, but she always stayed in the shadows. You know, she always stayed on the side and made my father look even bigger and bolder and brighter than he already was. And so I've always taken that as my thing. And I came to the Anchor with my talents and the things that I thought were the things that God had handed me, my music, my ability to follow, my ability to blend in. And I was challenged. And I was challenged to take that individual relationship that Randy had taught me and that I had started to develop with God. And I was challenged to be less of a follower and more of a leader. And that was a strength that I don't think I've ever seen in myself. Even though I've always been big, bold, and bright on the center, and always, you know, can be loud and you know, center of attention. It's not a place that I tend to try to put myself. It's just a place that I end up being at. But the difference is this time I'm much more comfortable in those shoes. I'm learning how to be that leader. I'm learning that God has made me a leader, and there's a reason why I'm at the Anchor, and there's a reason why it's a different approach, and there's a reason why He calls each of us to minister into other people's lives. The world is a very small place, and we usually have a message for people, and sometimes we don't even realize that we're sharing that message. And taking that out, you know, with the Anchor, you take that out every day. I'm more intentional. I'm more about asking somebody how they are and offering things to people, and less worried about what I have and more worried about what I can give. And I think that makes all the difference in the world.
Amen. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. My pleasure.